What's going on, Sci-Fi fans? My name is Ben, and welcome back to the bench for another episode of our Arquitens Light Cruiser here on Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Today we're going to be moving forward with the build. Last time we did a lot of work there on the rear of the ship. We added in those engines and then the little sublight engines as well. Those turned out to be a really fun experiment. We were able to go ahead and get those installed. Went ahead and hot glued them in. We wired them up, and I think honestly they are very bright. I think they look pretty cool. So let me go ahead and show you guys. Just go ahead and attach it real quick to my battery pack, and you can see these things are super bright. I actually probably should throw a resistor on it or something, because I don't know. It's like a little flashlight, so it's pretty bright. But with that being done and all those working, we can move over now to the front of the ship and see if we can't maybe add in a few more of these types of lights and whatnot into the bow or maybe into the bridge, hangar bay, all that good stuff. So we have a lot more work to do, so I think that's where we're going to go ahead and start in next. Now, I had thought about adding in some LEDs into the hangar as well as into the bridge, and then maybe if I could go ahead and figure it out, get some fiber optic cabling and light up in different areas, different portholes. I would love to light the very front of the ship. There's a launch tube right there, but that would be next to impossible to do for this particular model, so I don't think I'll be doing that. Still though, it'd be a really cool thing to do. Yeah, not going to happen. But if I can go ahead and clear out enough of the inner fibers, I might be able to go ahead and string in some LEDs. So we're going to open up the back of this hole, go ahead and clean out as many of the internal filament fibers that we can. We're going to open up that area as much as possible, and then maybe we can go ahead and start stringing in some wires, some lights, fiber optics, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and jump in there to our first time lapse. We're just going to start hacking and cutting away. Let's go ahead and open up that front hole. All right, so we took a lot of those fibers out of the front of the hull. We actually have a good deal of space in there, not necessarily as much space as I would like, but enough to go ahead and start stringing in some lights and maybe some fiber optics. I would love to go ahead and take it even further into the bow of the ship, but there's just not that much room in there, and those fibers get really thick. I don't have anything long enough and sharp enough to get in there and to cut those away and to pull them out. Plus, you really can't see in there anyway. It's a very tight, cramped area. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. Luckily for me, most of the references that I have for this particular ship doesn't show a whole lot of lights in the very front of it, maybe a couple here and there. The majority of the lights are located around the middle section, that little spine across the top, the hangar bay, the bridge, and then the launch tube, which I can't light, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I think we're going to go ahead and open up the windows in the upper bridge module. I'd love to go ahead and stick an LED in there and have that kind of broadcast out through the front windows. So let's go ahead and jump back into our time lapse and then use my drills, my files, any sort of knives that I've got, and I'm going to open up those windows as best as I can. Fingers crossed, this works. Let's keep it rolling. All right, so we have done even more cleanup. We did open up all those windows there in the upper bridge portion, and we're going to go ahead and now turn our attention over to the hangar bay, because I'd really like to go ahead and start doing some lighting in there as well. But so far, we've opened up enough space, we should be able to go ahead and string in something. Now for the bridge, I'm going to go ahead and test fit one of these smaller SMDs. I've got a bunch of different colors, different sized LEDs. I'm going to go ahead and first off try an SMD because it's small and it won't take up too much room in there. I think if I went with something like a 5mm, it'd be way too big. So if this doesn't work, we'll bump it up to a 3mm and try that. So we glued it in there, and let's go ahead and connect it to our power supply. And yeah, it's pretty dim. So I don't think that's going to work as well as I would like. Yeah, it's a little bit on the dimmer side. So I think what we'll do is we're going to swap this out with a 3mm ultra white LED. And I think that should go ahead and illuminate the area a little bit better. Now these are very bright, these little LEDs, and this is a 3mm flat top LED. And we're just going to go ahead and swap it out with the little SMD that we had in there previously. And the wires are going to be hanging down. Let's go ahead and give it a quick light, and let's see how bright this actually is. Oh yeah, this is way better. That's really going to project some light for sure. We'll have to do quite a bit of light blocking, however, because this plastic is pretty thin, but that's okay. That's good. I think that's going to work just fine. Now moving on here, let's talk a little bit about the hangar bay. What I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to try to light it up so it glows blue. The reasoning behind that is that if you look at some of the reference photos and the flybys of the ship, you will see that it kind of emits a very dull blue light. And I'm assuming that's because it has a force field right in the front of each of these hangars. So my first thought is I'm going to go ahead and drill a couple of holes in the upper corner of each of the hangar bays. We're going to do two, one in each corner, and I'm hoping that that will then flood the area with enough light so that it'll look a little bit like it's glowing blue. Now, how we're going to go ahead and diffuse that, I really don't know, but that's going to be maybe next episode, because we actually still have to order some blue LEDs. So this should be good for now. Next episode, we can come on back and we'll try to go ahead and see how those blue LEDs look. Now, one of the things I was also concerned about is if there was enough room to go ahead and run some form of rod to go ahead and keep this elevated off of a base. And luckily for us, there is enough room, so I'm going to go ahead and drill a very tiny pilot hole right in between the two inner walls for that hangar bay. And I'm going to drill it out progressively with larger and larger drill bits till I get the correct size for the stand. So let's go ahead and keep swapping out those drill bits until I get the right size, clean it out, and then we can go ahead and test fit it. And I'm hoping that this is actually perfectly snug. We can fit it right in there, glue it in, we're good to go. So that's all nice and cleaned up. Let's go ahead and grab the pipe and we'll test fit that, see how it fits. And yeah, it does go ahead and slide in there. It is a very tight fit, but that's okay. I think that looks pretty good. We can actually go a little bit further into the hole. We can then secure it up with something, and I think we will be in a good position. So yeah, I think we're on the right track. But that is it, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and call it here for today. We've been working out here on the ship for about 6 hours now, my time. Just a few minutes for you. Been a bit of time for me. But I think we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today, guys. We've been able to go ahead and get quite a bit done. We've got the bridge drilled out. We've got the opening for our stand, drilled out a couple of holes for each of the hangar bays. So I think we're actually good to go ahead and put this aside. I have to order some SMDs that are blue, so I can go ahead and glue those in. And that's going to be next episode. But I think with that, guys, we're going to be calling it quits for today. Not only have we opened up that bridge, we've gotten the inside cleaned out, we've got the hangar bay drilled out, we've got the rear of the ship also lit. So now all we need to do is next episode come in, glue in our LEDs, and maybe, just maybe, add in some fiber optics for different portholes, give it a little bit more life. I don't know how much I can actually get in there or how much I can string through all this mess of fiber, but we're going to try it. And I think a little bit is better than nothing. Having a ton of fun with this. One of those projects that I had no idea if it's going to work, and the more I kind of get into it, the more I want to try to add, the more I want to try to customize and have fun with it. I think we're on the right track for sure. But that is it for us today, guys. Until our next episode, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on episode 3 for the Arquitens Light Cruiser here on Ben Builds Sci-Fi Wednesdays. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.